Key learning for the first week in September. So first of all, some GCSE revision. Pythagoras, used for right angle triangles, and you label the sides A, B and C, and the formula you need to learn is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse. You also need to remember trigonometry from GCSE. So the formula, the key formula for trigonometry, which most of you will know, is SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. At A level, you need to be able to write this out clearly in full as well. So you write sine alpha is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cos alpha is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And finally the TOA one, which is tan alpha equals opposite over adjacent. For your test, your induction test, you did some work on fractions, so you need to remember those rules as well. So if you are adding or subtracting fractions, the key thing is that you need a common denominator. We will look in lessons at how you get your common denominator, but you need to remember adding or subtracting common denominator. When you are multiplying fractions, the key rule is that you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators. So if you had, for example, 3/4 times 5/7, your answer would be 3 times 5 is 15 and 4 times 7 is 28. So you need to be able to remember that rule. You also need to know how to divide fractions, and for division, it's a very simple rule. You flip the second fraction and multiply. So for example, if you had 2/3 times 5/7, 2/3 divided by 5/7, you would then do 2/3, flip the second fraction to give you 7/5 and multiply. Use your rules for multiplying, so 2 times 7, 14, over 3 times 5 is 15. So you need the 3 rules for the 4 rules for fractions: adding, subtracting, multiplying, and also dividing. We'll look more in the lesson at cancelling down fractions. Next, we've done some work this week on quadratic graphs. So quadratic graphs. There are 3 forms for a quadratic graph, and you need to know all 3 and be able to convert between the 3 different forms. The first form is the longhand version, where you have the 3 terms, the x squared, the 6x, and the constant term. So we'll call this the longhand version. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. On this one, it's the plus 8 that you look at, and the plus 8 will tell you where it intersects with the y-axis.